When Kabul fell, we were all scrambling to speak to people in the city and find out what was going on. And an MP here put me in touch with a friend of hers. She's a prominent journalist, a former Afghan MP herself, and she was stranded at the airport. So I sent her a message saying, "Are you safe? Is it okay to talk?" And she wrote back saying, "No, I'm not safe and it's not okay to talk." But she then started sending me a series of increasingly frantic messages. She said she was on the list of British evacuees, but she couldn't contact any British officials to find out how to actually get on that plane. And so for over the course of the next week, she was basically messaging me constantly, mostly by text or voice messages. We couldn't broadcast them at the time for her safety, but we can do now. And it is really an extraordinary story of high stakes, of one woman's race to try and get on a plane before those doors slammed shut, evading Taliban checkpoints and negotiating British bureaucracy. For Shukria Barakzai, prominent feminist, former member of the Afghan parliament, Sunday the 15th of August began unremarkably.
I was planning before to go Turkey, so I was on my way to the airport. But to be honest, everything was just been scheduled like a normal day for me.
She and her husband were inside the terminal building when the news came. The Taliban were at the city gates. Kabul had fallen. Now, everyone was rushing to get a flight. Shukria managed to board her plane. It looked like she was going to make it out just in time.
I was trying to just be normal, but suddenly things change, with like a finger snap. Another crowd get into the airplane. They don't have passports or tickets or boarding pass or anything else. And the captain announced that since there are people with the gun, they cannot take off. And finally, the captain switched off the ventilation and the lights, and he been disappeared. And that was the nightmare start.
With Taliban fighters roaming the city, Shukria decided to spend the night on board the stranded plane.
I was inside of the plane that one of my friends, she sent me a photo and say, "Shukria, Taliban are in your house." I thought the airport is the safest place, which is, unfortunately, I was absolutely wrong.
By morning, the Taliban had taken over the main terminal. Shukria decided to try to make it to safety on the military side, where US forces were still in control. But it was chaos, and the Americans would not allow them in.
It was clear that no one is care about that crowd. No one is care about the documents or visas or anything. No one is ready to listen.
And that's when she realized the Taliban were looking for her.
And I saw, as I mentioned to you, the Taliban, like a kind of undercover without gun. And I realized that Taliban are here to find and identify probably the faces. They were looking for me. I could realize the way they were speaking and the way they were like staring, they just want to make sure this is me.
Shukria had good reason to be fearful. A powerful woman and outspoken critic of the Taliban. In 2014, a suicide bomber attacked her car. She was nearly killed. As Kabul airport descended into chaos, Shukria began messaging anyone and everyone who might help get her out.
I tried my contact with the US Embassy, but unfortunately, all of them was failed. So the only person that successfully I was been in contact, that was Debbie.
So this one is at 10:30. So we're surrounded by Talibans. Please, Madam Debbie, they will kill Shukria. Please help us.
Debbie Abraham, MP for Oldham East and Saddleworth, is a friend.
I messaged her to her local number, and she rang me and her husband, and we spoke probably every few minutes.
With her mother and 4 children in the UK, Shukria and her husband were sending increasingly frantic voice messages.
Gabby, please help us, madam. Madam, please help us. We want to go towards the British officials. Just please inform the US Army so that they can let us go inside. The Taliban's are here. Please, I'm in the washroom. Please, madam, please.
You could hear gunfire in the background.
I think it's better for me to go myself to the and give myself to the Taliban. This is the last choice I had.
Through the crowd, Shukria saw Taliban fighters coming towards her and her husband.
They came and they prepared to shoot. And first they beat him and they beat me. We just run. It was a very long way we run. It was extreme dark, but I can just only see the red bullets was been exchanged between both sides. So finally, the dark helped us that without any kind of recognition, we get out of the airport.
In between the calls, I made the official and formal application to both of the Foreign Office, the Home Office and the MOD through all the different email addresses that we had, because there was nothing in place at that time. Nobody knew. None of my MP colleagues, none of us knew who was coordinating what and where to put the inquiry into. So I just contacted everybody I knew through formal MP channels. And then I used my unofficial networks just to try and so I could find out what was going on.
Debbie Abrahams' contacts were good ones. Among them, Lord Ahmed, Foreign Office Minister with responsibility for South Asia, and he wasted no time.
So, the middle of the afternoon on Monday, he messaged back and said she's on the list, not on a manifest yet, but I see it as imminent.
But evacuation was not imminent. For days, calls were being made. I was trying to find out what was going on. Debbie Abrahams was sending messages. So was Tariq Ahmed, the Foreign Office Minister. In order to get on a flight, Shukria, or indeed anyone, needed two things: an official letter from the Foreign Office and some kind of message telling them where to go and, crucially, how to get there safely. And nobody seemed to have any answers. Meanwhile, Shukria and her husband were hiding in the city, moving from house to house as the Taliban continued to track them. This was Wednesday.
Hi, Debbie. Sorry to bother you again. When I will be able to get to the British camp or shelter, safe shelter, because I'm afraid I may not have any shelter for tonight. And nowhere is safe for me to go.
The following night was even more precarious.
Sorry, I'm just talking very slow because it's a small little window. Just only when I'm standing here, the network is working. And beside of that, as I told you, the other house, just in a couple of meters away, was been occupied by Taliban. I don't want them to recognize my voice.
Messaged again to Tariq, and he said, I'll update you as soon as I can, and kept on doing that. I mean, literally every few hours. And Tariq's a very loyal government minister, but I could sense his frustration as well. I couldn't identify where the blockage was and who was issuing it. Was it the Home Office? Was it the Foreign Office?
Eventually, on Thursday, 3 days after her name was added to the list of urgent evacuees, Shukria got a call.
Yeah, someone called by the name of James from a Foreign Office. So we got the call in. They say they will contact me again.
But there was confusion. The Foreign Office thought she was a British citizen, and still no one could provide any details on how and when she might get out.
No email, no number, no contact. Okay, if I go to the airport, to whom I should contact? Who will come and help me with that? Who will give me that? Okay, yes, your name is on that list. You know, without any contact, it's impossible.
In the end, it was another MP who broke the deadlock. While following Shukria's story, I learnt that Tom Tugendhat was also working behind the scenes. Chair of the Foreign Affairs Select Committee, he'd served in Afghanistan and was trying to get others out too. Tom Tugendhat gave me the number of a former British soldier who was coordinating rescue efforts on the ground and access into the airport. I messaged him and he told me it's carnage at the gates. People are getting crushed to death. I can facilitate her through our system. It's not protocol, but I will do this as a favour. It was late on Saturday night that Shukria got the call.
Hi, I just got a call from the guy and he said that we should go to certain address close to the airport, although it's a night curfew, but they say that we should ignore that and we should start moving.
Gabriel, brother, we're just moving towards the airport, and the guy, he just passed our number to one of his colleagues. He was an Afghan, and he did take our information of the vehicle, so we will try our best to get to the gate.
It was extremely scary, especially in the midnight, extreme scary. The Taliban checkpoint also stopped us, like in 3 places. I was fully covered, completely.
The operation involved British, American and Afghan soldiers. In the end, just after midnight on Sunday morning, nearly a week after Kabul fell, Debbie Abrahams got the message she'd been waiting for.
Hi Debbie, finally we are in the airport. Thank you so much, thanks. We are safe, that's the most important.
It should not be down to informal networks to enable people to escape persecution, and that's what it's come down to. That's my belief. I don't think Shukria would have got out unless I'd used all the contacts that I had to help her escape. And I can't thank them enough. I really can't thank them enough. But there are so many others that are going to be left. And there'll be thousands that are left. And I think we've let them down dreadfully. If there was a plan in place, why did it fail so miserably?
Shukria Barakzai arrived safely in the UK in the early hours of Monday. She's now quarantining in a hotel near Brize Norton where she landed. The window for evacuations is rapidly closing. Hard times lie ahead for those who are left behind. But exile is also no easy prospect.
From one side, I feel, oh, I can breathe. But on the other side, I was been thinking, what happened? What's going on? What's going on with me, with my country, with my people? My heart was crying. If I will be able to come back, I will be able to see this country again. I can be back home after 23 years hard work, lots of hope, and we start everything back from scratch. I lift my piece of heart, but I feel safe somewhere else.
Well, we contacted the Foreign Office, who told us the scale of the Kabul evacuation effort is huge, and we've now helped more than 12,200 people to leave Afghanistan since the 14th of August. We will continue to do all we can to deliver on our obligation to get British nationals and eligible Afghans out of the country while the security situation allows.